Hello friends, today I'm reviewing Elton John's 1993 album Duets, a series of collaborations with well-known prominent stars of that particular time. It followed on from the Rare Masters issue of 1992 and preceded The Lion King of 1994. But where is it in terms of his solo studio albums? Well, in 1992 we had The One, and it was preceding 1995's Made in England. It came out as a single CD or a double vinyl album. It reached number 5 in the UK charts and number 25 in the US charts. If you have the vinyl, you'll find the tracks in a slightly different order to the way I'm going to go through them from the CD. So on the front of the album we see the two empty chairs. Well, the two performers will soon be sitting in those. And on the back we have Elton looking pretty suave and elegant, a lot of sartorial eloquence, you could say. There are pictures of all the artists inside. One slight down mark would be there's no lyrics, which I always would like to see in the booklet. Now, what do we think about collaborations and duets? Well, I don't mind them. I find them quite interesting. What I'd like to see, though, is something new going on. So I'm more likely to appreciate a new song that's been presented as a collaboration, such as we had a lot of on the lockdown sessions. Or if they are doing a cover version, I really would like to see something being added to the original. I'm not that keen on just retreads of old songs just with new artists. So, what are you bringing to the party with this? What's going to make me listen to it? Now, on this particular album, we've got some well-known songs, and we've got 5 Elton compositions, and 3 of them are new songs, 2 of them are retreads. So that's for the whole album. And just a reminder of my marking system for any new viewers. Most of my marks are going to be around here, between average and very good. Occasionally something will slip lower, and occasionally we will push into the excellent, brilliant, or even out of this world category. 10 out of 10. I don't award that very often. I just reserve that for very, very special tracks. Now, the opening track is Teardrops, which is a collaboration with the Canadian country singer and writer K.D. Lang. The writers are Womack and Womack. This is a kind of a soul song from 1988. Elton's also recorded this one with Lulu, interestingly as well. The feel of it to me is a little bit like sort of Philadelphia Freedom, Don't Go Breaking My Heart, that sort of thing. We've got orchestral backing. Elton's vocal is strong. The voices work well together. The drums maybe are a little bit louder than the vocals on occasions, but it is uplifting. It's an accomplished pop song, a good toe tapper. It's about a couple's memories of each other and how they kind of might be getting back together. It's maybe slightly too long, one chorus too long, but a decent listen, this one. I'm going to rate it as fairly good, 5 marks. Now, PM Dawn was an American hip-hop and R&B act. It was 2 brothers working together here. Atrell Cordes was one of the brothers who wrote this particular song. When I think about love, I think about you. Very sadly, he died very young, and that's a shame because obviously a very talented artist here. The song is addressing the question, who keeps their place in my heart? So another nice bit of love song going here. The interplay between the voices works really nicely on this one. It's clearly an R&B ballad. Elton's doing a bit of improvisation on the melody as well. It's a laid-back vocal. It's a relaxed, enjoyable song. A bit schmaltzy perhaps, but it's a pleasant melody. The arrangement worked well. The harmonies work well as well. And there's a nice Elton piano solo in this one, I think. So I'm going to rate this as a good one. Give it 6. Track number 3 is The Power, with Little Richard, of course, the cult rock and roll legend who died in 2020, sometimes described as the architect of rock and roll. He was an early hero of Elton, and he writes about him in his book. So he must have been quite honoured to sharing a platform with the great man. Now, this is a pile-driving heap of rock. Heavy drum intro, an infectious beat. The 2 legends are stepping up to the microphone and they seem to be enjoying it. There's a gospel feel to this, walking with the power every day. There's definitely that positive message. We've got exciting, soulful backing vocals and electronic organ sounds. It's maybe a little bit overlong, and the piano solo towards the end does give it that lift towards the end, so it's worth hanging on for. There's also a good sax solo going on here. The drums are good, actually. They're exciting drums, you know, and that's worth listening out for on all 3 tracks so far, actually. Much better than the drumming on the one, which of course I criticise as being a little bit programmable and a bit too heavy. Anyway, I think it's a fairly good track. Hope you enjoy it. 5 marks. Track number 4 is Shaky Ground with Don Henley, founder member, of course, of the Eagles. This is a song that's written by Bowen, Boyd and Hazel, a Temptation song from 1975 that's also been recorded by people like Etta James and Aerosmith. We're standing on shaky ground ever since you put me down. So it's another relationship kind of reflection. We've got a heavy beat here, a strong rocking verse. Don Henley starts off the song. Elton comes in on the refrain. It kind of funks along. It's a funky sort of song. But the actual refrain is rather bland. It's rather tuneless. I've got to say, I don't particularly like this song, I'm afraid. And I think Don Henley's talents could have been used up on a much more entertaining song, or even something new. So the vocals are a bit underpowered on the refrain as well, I think. Rather dull, unfortunately, this one, which is a bit of a shame. So I'm going to rate this one as below average. Sorry, 3. Track number 5 is True Love, which is a duet with Kiki Dee, who of course goes back many decades in her working relationship with Elton. The song is by Cole Porter and comes from the musical High Society. So we're going right back to the 1950s here, originally sung by Bing Crosby and Grace Kelly. I think they're actually on a rowing boat in the song. Now, Cole Porter is a bit of a legend from the American Songbook, of course. And during that time, we had people like Rodgers and Hart, Rodgers and Hammerstein, the Gershwin brothers, who were writing songs, one doing music, one doing the lyrics. Cole Porter did it all himself, so he was a pretty amazing composer. Also responsible for songs like Night and Day and the brilliant I've Got You Under My Skin, which of course Sinatra made so famous. So great pedigree, and it is a very fine song. Kiki Dee starting, Elton coming in with some nice placed harmony on Oh How Lucky We Are. We know their voices work well together. The question for me on this one is, what does it add to the original? What's the purpose in doing this song? Well, I think it's a pleasant combination. There is an extra bit of melody which Elton has added here when he gets to the bit, Give Me Your True Love. So that is something extra they've added in terms of the structure of it. The whole thing sounds just a little bit Disneyish, doesn't it? It's a little bit too sweet, perhaps. However, the vocals are good, and towards the end, Elton really powers into this and is clearly enjoying it. So, it's a decent listen for this one. I rate it as good. 6 marks. Track number 6 is If You Were Me with Chris Rea, the English rock and blues singer, known for his kind of gravel voice and songs like Fool, If You Think It's Over, and of course, Driving Home for Christmas. This a bit of an odd song, this one. It's written by Chris Rea. I always get a bit confused by the lyrics on this. If you were me and I were you, and who is who in this one? So it's a bit confusing, but does it really matter? Because it's pretty pleasant. Elton sounds very relaxed. Chris Rea's voice is absolutely sumptuous. There's sort of a country swing feel to this. It's a gentle, but it's an involving ballad, a very likeable song. 2 crazy stories, 2 different views. Perhaps Chris Rea is reflecting there on the life stories of himself and Elton, maybe. There's a glorious moment in the middle of this one when Chris Rea sings, You Search for the Stars. Listen out for that line. It's absolutely spine-tingling. It's the highlight of the song, most definitely. So I'm going to rate this as good. Give it an enjoyable 6. Track number 7 is A Woman's Needs. This is an Elton and Bernie original, sung with Tammy Wynette, the American country star who passed away in 1998. Famous, of course, for Stand By Your Man, known as the First Lady of Country Music, a pioneer of women in music, and, of course, a fantastic, iconic voice as well. She sings the first verse, Elton come in with the second. It's the type of sort of American style song that Elton enjoys so much, and we've seen a lot of these on his later albums, I think. It's a slow country ballad reminding me a little bit of Roy Rogers from Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, which of course is a wonderful song. It's a little plodding perhaps, but it's a decent listen. It's hardly a feminist message though, isn't it? It's about what the writer thinks a woman's needs. A ring on my finger, one man to show me the best part of life. So it's showing a little bit that the woman is dependent on the man. Questionable message possibly. So that might need a bit of thinking about. However, there's a nice interplay between the voices on this. It's pleasant and it works well together. So I enjoy this one. I'm going to rate it as good. Give it another 6. Now, track number 8 is Old Friend with Nick Kershaw, of course, English singer-songwriter, new wave musician, master of synthetic pop in the 1980s. Songs like Wouldn't It Be Good? Now, he's written this song as well and plays all the instruments on it. We've got this kind of electronic soundscape and disco beat. The voices work well together as well here. It's quite a complicated song, this one. There's lots of key changes going on, but the refrain is really engaging actually, and I certainly applaud the artist for the originality of the song here and not using an old song to retread. So urge you to give this one a listen. I think it's a fairly good song. Going to give it 5. So 8 tracks reviewed so far, 42 marks from the 8 tracks, giving an average of 5.25 per track. Of course, that's not the complete story because I've got another 8 tracks to go, which I will do on the second video. What do you think of this Duets album? I hear a lot of people criticise it, saying it's below par. When you dig into the songs, I find most of them pretty entertaining. There's no skipovers here at all. It's of its time. You know, you can tell that it was recorded in the 1990s. I would perhaps criticise some of the choices of songs. I would like more original material, but I think a lot of the partnerships do work pretty well. Anyway, what's your favourite track so far out of these 8? Or maybe you might like to comment below on your favourite tracks from the whole album, or even ones you don't like particularly. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with part 2 very shortly. Don't forget, we're still standing.